Hey, thanks for coming to the channel. Today we're going to be making a calibration cube to use for 3D printing. This is hopefully one in a series of mini-series episodes to learn Fusion 360 for 3D printing. There will also be another series for CNC, but let's get started. This is your Fusion 360 design interface when you open Fusion 360. To build a solid model, we start with a drawing. We press this button here to create a sketch. I'm going to start the sketch on the XY or the bottom plane. If for some reason it doesn't go parallel, you can use your middle mouse button to rotate, and then on this cube up here, click on top, and it brings us back to looking at this plane perpendicular. All right, we're going to grab the 2-point rectangle. Now, we should start at the origin, but I'm going to show you what happens if we don't start at the origin. Okay, we draw our rectangle. We're going to go to dimension and add some dimensions. You'll notice that all the lines are blue. This means that the sketch is not fully defined, so we're going to define everything. We're going to make our cube, let's say 1.5 inches squared. Let's say we accidentally put in the wrong dimension. Double click to reopen the dimension. We can do 1.5. Another thing we can do, let's see, Control Z. Another thing we can do is add an equation. I want this to equal this dimension. So if I click here, this takes D1, the dimension that we first put on here. Okay, so now our cube, our square, is seemingly fully defined, except we can move it around. So we need to add more dimensions so that this is defined within the space. So back to dimension. Sorry, press escape because I had this line highlighted. Dimension, and I'm gonna just say from the origin, let's make it an inch. Some of our lines have gone black. Black means fully defined. And let's say this one, I'm gonna make it an inch as well. All right, press escape to get out of dimension mode. All right, our sketch is fully defined now. So next thing we're gonna do is turn this 2D drawing into a 3D shape. Finish sketch. So now we have our 2D sketch. If I turn back on the origin, it helps give you some reference. Any object in this top left here, you can turn things on and off. If you just want to turn on or off individual planes, you can. We're going to leave those for now. Okay, so you'll notice in the bottom row, here's our timeline. So it shows that we've created a sketch. This will make more sense as we add features. So now in our 3D workspace, we're going to select extrude. Okay, and since I already had this area selected, let's say I didn't. I'm going to cancel this profile. Let's say I didn't have it selected. I would have hit extrude. With profile selected, I would select the space in here. And there's two ways you can pull on this arrow. You can type in the distance directly here, or in your window here, you can type in, let's do 1.5. It gives you a preview of what it'll look like. So we've got our cube here. I'm going to say OK. Okay. So here we go. We've got our cube. Now, calibration cube usually has letters or numbers on each side. We're going to do we'll do a mixture here. So next thing we're going to do is go back to our top plane. So we know this is the top. You can select the top, create sketch. Now we go to our sketch tools and we're going to add text. So we're going to start by going corner to corner, and it shows what our text is right here. So in here we're going to, let's do the letter Shift X for capital X. I want to center this, so I'm on here on alignment. I'm going to align center, align middle. I'd like this to be a little bit bigger. So under text height, I'm going to change this, let's say 0.6. Maybe a little bigger, let's try 1. 1 looks good. I say OK. So our sketch is complete. We're going to finish sketch. And now we want to cut this X into our cube. You'd think we would do a hole, but we're actually going to do an extrusion. Now this profile was selected accidentally. We're going to remove profiles. We're going to select the X, not the whole face, just the X. Okay, so you can see if we go up, it actually, what do you call that, embosses it. If you go down, it cuts it, and that's the key here. So we're going to go down a distance of, let's see, -0.1. Let's say OK. Now let's say I made a mistake. I accidentally hit 1 inches, or it's too shallow. So if we go to the bottom to our timeline, you right click on the extrusion, you can edit feature, and you can change it. We have our grab handles back. It's giving us an issue if we wanted to emboss because the operation still says cut, but we do actually want to cut it. So I wanted to show you that where you try to go negative, nothing happens. It might give you an issue because the operation here needs to be cut. Okay, we're going to do this at, let's just call it -0.15 inches. Okay. You know what, actually, I'm going to do it again. Edit feature, I like -0.1. Okay, so we've got one, we've got our top. Let's do our next face. We're going to do our front face, create sketch. Again, we're going to grab the text tool, corner to corner. You'll notice that our settings from our last text operation are preserved here. And on this side, let's do letter Y. Okay. We're going to finish the sketch. And we're going to go to extrude. We're going to remove any automatically selected profiles. We're going to select the Y. Type in -0.1, and you see it automatically selects the cut operation. We're going to hit OK. All right, and now we're just going to kind of rinse and repeat. Let's say accidentally that it gave you the drawing upside down. All right, a couple ways you can do this. Let's say we want to be the bottom of the cube on the bottom. If you notice up here on the right, these arrows allow you to rotate your plane. So this is where we want it now. We're going to go back to text, corner to corner. Let's see, on this side, I want to do something with a curve. Let's say capital B. Okay, we're going to finish the sketch. Going to go back to extrude. Remove the profile that's automatically selected and select just the B. Again, we're going to go -0.1. Okay, looking good. We're just going to do these last two faces here. Create sketch. Grab our text tool. Going a little bit faster because this is repetitive. And you know what? I'm going to do the number 12. This gets a little closer than I'd like to our edge, so I'm actually going to make this, let's see, 0.8 inches. That looks good. Okay. Finish sketch. I'm going to extrude, remove selected profiles. I'm going to click on the 12. You notice that I don't have to select on the 1 and the 2. I just select on it, it groups the text together. If you want to extrude them separately, you'd have to have 2 text boxes, one with a 1, another with a 2. I go -0.1, hit OK, and for our last side, we're going to create a sketch. Go back to our text tool. Actually, we're not going to create text on this one. On this one, we're going to do something different. We're going to make a bullseye looking thing. We're going to go to line. I want to draw some reference lines here. So if I go along this edge here, it's using it as a reference. And when I get towards the middle, you'll notice that it snaps to the middle of this line. I'm going to click, drag this straight down to this line, and you'll notice the line's automatically black, which means it's going center line to center line. It's already fully defined. All right, I'm going to do the same thing horizontally. Okay, I'm going to press escape. Now I'm going to highlight these 2 lines are selected. I'm going to change the line type here to construction line. So that means when we're trying to do an extrusion, you'll notice, let me go back, I'm going to do undo. You'll notice we've got 4 quadrants here. So if we're in the extrude workspace, these will actually act like separate areas. But I'm going to redo the construction line, and you'll notice now it's not using them to slice and dice the area for extrusion. Okay, now I'm going to go to a center diameter circle, and it'll snap to the middle here. I'm just going to put a couple here. I'm going to put 4. Okay, now the hotkey is D, or you can click on dimension. Let's add some dimensions to define these. I'm going to make this 0.25. I'm going to make this one 0.5, 0.75, and 1 inch. Okay, and let's see. We're going to go ahead and finish sketch. Okay, now I want to cut some of these out here. So I'm going to go back to extrude. You'll notice it didn't automatically select a profile this time because there's more than one. Okay, so I'm going to do this outer circle and this circle right here. And you can see what happens if we emboss, or if we're going to cut it or engrave it in here. And I'm going to put my -0.1 and hit OK. And now we've got a little bullseye there. Okay, so now we've got our calibration cube. Before we can export it for 3D printing, we need to save it, because some of those operations are done in the cloud. So I'm going to click Save and call this Tutorial Calibration Cube. Save. Okay, now to export it as an STL, I'm going to go up here to File, Export, and under Type, this drop down, if you scroll down a little bit, right here, STL file, and it's going to go to my downloads. That's fine, I'm just going to leave it there. Export. This is going to take a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to open Cura so we can see this. It looks like it's going to take a while, but once it gets started, it actually will complete pretty quick. Still waiting. Screen's not frozen. All right. And once the STL, see, there we go. Show in folder. Drag this over here. Looks like Cura is not quite open yet. All right. Now here we're in Cura. And I'm just going to drag and drop my cube here. And we are ready to 3D print this calibration cube that we just made. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And please comment with any other tutorials you might like to see. If this helps you, I'm glad it did. Please stay tuned for more videos coming out. And go crack some eggs.